A family from Westland says when they noticed a mark on their newborn's stomach, they took him to the doctor right away.
But the Parker family told me they were stunned when a specialist known as a child abuse pediatrician accused them of hurting their baby.
Oh, are you sharing with sprinkles?
Here we go. Good boy.
Allie and Jimmy Parker say they have just lived through an 8-month nightmare.
I thought we lived in America where you were innocent until you were proven guilty. We were guilty until we proved we were innocent.
When Dylan was 6 weeks old, the Parkers noticed a strange mark on his stomach, so they took him to their pediatrician right away. The Parkers say Dylan had spent time in his baby swing that day, and a pathologist later testified that the mark resembled the swing's harness buckle. But because it looked like a bruise, the doctor said they needed to go to the hospital.
I want you to go to U of M's emergency room. I've already called them, and they're expecting you.
The Parkers say they later found out the child protection team at C.S. Mott Children's Hospital had already been activated. It's a team made up of social workers and specialists known as child abuse pediatricians.
So one of my biggest pet peeves in terms of terminology is the word accident.
Dr. Bethany Moore, seen here giving a lecture to first responders, is the director of that team.
That went into autopilot. So blood work, x-rays, CT scan. They came back and told us he had a rib fracture, which shocked us. Why would our 6-week-old have a rib fracture?
I was like, honey, they think we hurt him. And it was still kind of unbelievable.
Allie and Jimmy say they were not told Dylan's 4 rib fractures were 5 to 7 weeks old, which experts say means they could have occurred during delivery. The Parkers say they also were not told about Dylan's other lab results.
Nobody ever brought up the fact that his vitamin D level was so low.
The Parkers say they later learned Dylan was born with rickets and had very fragile bones. But at the time, they could not explain his injuries to Dr. Moore.
Before she spoke with Jimmy, before she even examined Dylan, she, from her personal cell phone, called somebody at CPS and said, I have Miss Parker here and she wants to know if she can continue to nurse Dylan. No, absolutely no contact. So I break down because now you're telling me I can't even nurse my son.
Child Protective Services workers removed Dylan and 1-year-old Isabella from the Parkers' care. And for 3 weeks, Allie and Jimmy were not allowed to see the babies at all.
We didn't get to get up with him at night. We didn't get to rock him at night, sing to him.
Parents have a constitutional right to parent their children. And when you interrupt a breastfeeding mom and child, you are disrupting the bond. You're disrupting the ability to parent.
Attorney Lisa Kirsch Satawa says she knew she needed to bring in outside experts when she saw Dr. Moore's statement in her report that Dylan's bruising is diagnostic of physical abuse,
which is an extreme amount of medical certainty. And I had never seen a doctor ever in my 25 years of doing child abuse cases say that it was diagnostic of abuse.
Satawa eventually got the Parkers supervised visitation with the kids. After 8 months and a lengthy trial, a Wayne County judge dismissed the case and apologized to the Parkers, saying in his ruling, quote, I heard a lot deeper science from some of the other witnesses than I heard from Dr. Moore.
She's in a position of enormous, unquestioning power.
For somebody to tell me that I am not doing a good job and to go so far to say that I would hurt one of them, it's not right.
A spokeswoman for Michigan Medicine declined our request to interview Dr. Moore, but sent us a statement that says, in part, we want to stress that Michigan Medicine's child protection team has extensive expertise and uses evidence-based medicine in analyzing medical findings to evaluate whether injuries are suspicious for child abuse. This is an extremely valuable team that protects the safety of children. We have their full statement at WXYZ.com. And coming up tonight at 6 p.m., I'll be taking a closer look at the role that child abuse pediatricians play with the courts after parents are accused.